Hello and welcome to Beyond Service, live discussions with WorkWave. Today's show, we're going to be talking about the experience of turning a lead into recurring customers with a series of interactions. A company has influence on customers and their relationship from the beginning of a lead through to landing that customer. Our guest today is going to be Bill Cowley, the owner and operator of Cowleys Pest Services in Farmingdale, New Jersey. A long-time WorkWave customer, 30 years with us. Before we introduce Bill, we're going to actually roll a little video segment testimonial that he did with us to give you a little introduction to Bill.
Cowley started in my brother's condominium in Tinton Falls, and we moved into his basement, and the business really began to grow to support the two of us and our families. That didn't last long in a basement, didn't really work. So soon after that, we bought our first office in Neptune City. And that's when we really started to become a business, so to speak, more than just a mom and pop. If you want to grow and you want to scale your business, you've got to have software that can help you do that efficiently. There's no other way to do it. It will impede your growth if you don't have the right software. There's so many other features in PestPac that allow us to continue to scale the business and grow. It would be impossible. So PestPac's helped us in just about every facet of our business. I don't know where we'd be. We'd be buried under piles of paperwork out there. I can remember when we made the transition from actually a scheduling book. It was probably only about 15 years ago. And now you walk out into our call room, our call center, and you've got 6 people on the phone, all scheduling appointments simultaneously. So that's one difference between 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and today, and how, technology is helping us continue to scale our business and grow. Our technicians in the field, I can remember them going out with work orders in their hands. They have a pile of papers every day. And then from there, we went to an app on the phone. So now they're paperless. Efficiencies like that, as you grow, become absolutely necessary to have that technology and that efficiency at your fingertips. PestPac allows you to know what's going on inside your business, which is critical. We've been with WorkWave for 30 years from the beginning, and you guys grew and became the #1 software in the industry. We've kind of grown with you guys. You guys have grown dramatically, so have we, kind of simultaneously. I've gotten to know a lot of people over there. Not just, who's the customer service person on the other end of the phone? We actually know each other, and that really helps. That's a special relationship. I have nothing but positive things and nothing but positive experiences for the last 30 years. The software's gotten better and better and better as you keep adding new features, new modules. So we're able to do more things. It does everything for us. And there's more to come. It's just going to get better and better.
All right, and with that, there he is. Bill, how you doing?
Good, Rick. How you doing?
Doing all right, doing good. It's great to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. I usually bump into you at trade shows, which is you're in our backyard. You're right here in New Jersey. I see you every once in a while, and then I see you out at trade shows. It's always fun to see you, just to know, hey, yeah, you're traveling out here with us. And for the audience, we do like to send people out to our customers, and with you guys in our backyard, you've been gracious. You've allowed us to send people. You mentioned it in the video. You've got to know a lot of people here, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. Sending people around with you guys to help them learn the business, so we can actually build our products in a nice way for you guys. So I appreciate that. Thank you for being on the show. You guys have been customers for 30 years, and I think that's right when you started, right? You've been in business for 30 years too.
Yeah, my brother started this business in 1991, I believe, is when he incorporated the business. Okay. He and I became partners in 1996, so we've been in the business for 30 years.
Nice. Over 30 years, I'm sure you've seen a ton of stuff. Is there something memorable that you can think of that stands out to you that you ran across in those 30 years? I was on YouTube the other
Um,
day. I saw this video of a woman who was pulling bees out of the floor with her bare hands. Now being in the industry, when I go to my LinkedIn and I scroll down, I
right.
see all sorts of bug stuff now. So I'm just curious
Yeah.
what you've had.
Well, two things come to mind. One was an experience I had myself with my brother. Another experience is one he had on his own. But the craziest thing I've seen, or that comes to mind first, is this had to be 20, 25 years ago. It was just me and my brother out in the field doing all the work. This is before we really started to grow the business. And my brother called me one day and said, do you have the camcorder? We had a camcorder back in those. We didn't have the
Right.
phones. You could take video. And we had a company camcorder to take videos with. And I said, yeah. He said, well, I want you to meet me out in Manalapan. He gave me this address. He said, get out here as fast as you can. You're not going to believe, what's here. So I said, okay. I said, what's it about? He said, I'm not going to tell you. He said, just come out here. This is one of the craziest things I've seen. And he had been in the business for 5 or 6 years at that point. So grab the camcorder and I drive out to Manalapan, which is where we grew up, by the way, and pull up to this property. And he's in the backyard. It's a big piece of property. It's probably about an acre or two of property, and it's like a small ranch on the property. So I get out of my truck and I walk up the driveway, and I'm about to walk into the backyard. He's standing in the middle of the backyard by a bird feeder, and he's waving to me, going, "Come on, come on."
Okay.
He goes, "Start filming," and I go, "Start filming what?" And I'm probably 100 feet from him, and I look down and I see rat burrows as far as the eye can see in every direction. Rat burrows. Not only do I see rat burrows, I see rats running out and out of exit holes and then into other burrows. There, it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. I look up at him and he says, "Come on." He goes, "Come over here." And that meant I had to walk through this minefield
Jeez.
of rat burrows. He said, "Come on." He goes, "They won't bother you." He goes, "But just come out here because I want you to film it from where I'm standing," because that was the middle of it all.
Yeah.
So I start walking through this minefield of rat burrows, and as I'm walking, the rats are running between my legs as I'm walking, scurrying out of a burrow. I was stepping on burrows; they were collapsing, and the rats would run out of the burrows as I was walking. And a couple of them ran between my legs. So I finally get out to the bird feeder and I go, "What the heck is this? What's going on here?" And sadly, what had happened was I guess there was an old widow that had lived in the house and she had a bird feeder.
Uh-huh.
This is my first lesson on bird feeders, by the way, and for our industry. And she always fed the birds. She'd go out there every day and feed the birds. And eventually the rats showed up. And she loved the birds, but
Okay.
then she ended up making friends with the rats. She started feeding the rats. She would go out there every day and she would replenish the supply of bird seed. And then she started pouring more and more seed as the bird and the rat population grew. And what happened was the whole yard blew up with rats and she kept feeding them. And then they started spreading out into a neighborhood around this
Oh my
home. And
God.
the Board of Health got a call. And the Board of Health went out to investigate, found this woman's property, and then called us. And then there's Drew and I, my brother Drew, and I out there in the middle of this saying this. It was like a horror movie, literally like a horror movie. So
Wait, so let me get this straight. She was actually purposely feeding the rats.
she was purposely feeding the rats.
You
She,
know, in
you know,
in my mind, I'm picturing Snow White. Was it Snow White? I have
we never met her. We never met the woman.
Yeah.
I maybe my brother did. But when I got there, there was nobody in the house. The house was empty.
Uh-huh.
But I'd never seen a rat situation like that.
Wow.
I was new in the business,
Now,
but I haven't seen anything like that since either. It was unbelievable.
now I think my team had fun with this story and they made a graphic to go along with it. Did you make a graphic, Amanda? Are you ready for? Oh, there you go. She put it on the screen. What I want to know is why did we make the graphic? Why didn't we just get the video from Bill? Bill filmed the whole thing. We could have watched it.
Uh,
Anyway, all right. Well, that's enough fun. So we're actually here today to talk about leads and converting leads and growing your business. And I'll kind of kick this off with we do an industry survey as Workway. We do it on a yearly basis. Some stats to kind of throw out there before we get into some conversation on leads. But it was interesting. So the survey came back, and there was some of the questions we asked. Okay, well, what's top 5 concerns or top 3 concerns for your business going into 2021? Interestingly, 3 of the top 5 answers from the survey were all around growing the business, acquiring new customers, upselling, right? So, I think across the industry, there's some, people are realizing, okay, well, based on current environment, this is an important thing. Whereas, I think 80%, 86% of the survey, they listed the ways that they acquire new customers, and they listed word of mouth as one of those top items. But you got a ton of people who aren't going out of their house. So the word of mouth, it gets a little bit more complex. It gets a little bit more into the digital realm, so that kind of sets a little bit of a stage of that kind of understand, okay, well, word of mouth used to be, a way that you were acquiring new business. Now things have kind of changed a little bit. So people kind of thinking, okay, well, how am I going to grow my business? How am I going to get new leads? How am I going to, get upsells to customers? So let's talk a little bit about that. To start, before you can convert a lead, you have to actually acquire the lead, right? So, which starts with marketing. So can you talk a little bit, Bill, about some of the techniques that you've used from the marketing side, things that you found successful?
well, sure. The things that work every day that work really well. Obviously, digital marketing is where it's at. You better have a robust website that Google looks at and is relevant with a lot of reviews. It better be a site that you're keeping fresh with new content, because they're scrolling that site all the time to see how relevant your site really is. Digital is where you're going to get the most cost-effective leads, and they're quality leads. But other things that work well. Listen, you just mentioned word of mouth. Like, if you're providing a good service, I think we generate over. There have been times in our history where 40% of our new business is coming from referrals.
Wow. Yeah.
It's always been over 30%.
Right.
But there have been times where it's actually gotten to the 40% range. So, just by providing good service, the business will come back to you. Now, beyond those 2 things, things that work really well for us, and this is something that's simple, but I think it's really important, especially as we've grown for our brand and our marketplace. I don't know if you live down the shore here. Rick, do you live in the shore
No,
area?
I secretly live in Pennsylvania. Don't tell people that. I
Okay.
drive out here, but I do go to the shore, and I like to actually run from Asbury down to I think Manasquan along the boardwalk. It's a nice little path to
Okay.
go. But yeah, I'm familiar with the
Well,
shore.
let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen one of our trucks?
Yes, yes. I've actually mentioned
There
it
you
in a previous interview that I get giddy. It's kind of silly, but I see some of our clients' trucks around, and I actually I don't know.
Okay.
It's cool.
All right. The reason I ask you that is because I can't actually trace every lead back to originally coming from people seeing our trucks.
Right.
But what I can tell you is that if you have a really professional looking truck out there, really clean truck with a really nice wrap on it, and it's consistently the same through, and you have 30 vehicles out there in your market, people say they're traveling billboards. Well, if you have the right message on there, and people see those trucks all the time, that's really a powerful marketing tool, because I know from my own experiences, just from being, I'll be at a restaurant and the waitress will come over. This has happened to me dozens of times, and she'll see this on my
Uh-huh.
shirt, and she'll say, "Oh, are you from Cowleys Pest Control?" And I say, "Yeah." And I can't tell you how many times someone like that, who's a stranger, when they see this logo on my shirt, will say to me, "Oh, I see your trucks all the time. I see your trucks all over the place." And to me, that's like the highest compliment I can get. I
Yeah.
mean, I get giddy. You said you get
I
giddy.
do. Yeah.
I get giddy when I hear that, because listen, it's not cheap. It's an
Right.
investment to wrap all these vehicles, and then to train our guys to keep them clean
Mhm.
and professional looking. But it's a really powerful marketing tool for your brand in your marketplace when people see those trucks. If it's done right now, if it's done right, I mean, you can have a bland, boring wrap on your truck
Yeah.
that, really doesn't turn heads. But if it's done right, I think that's a really good channel to generate not only leads, but to reinforce your brand in the marketplace.
Yeah, you guys have a nice full wrap. There's a couple other ones that I've seen that have a full wrap, and sometimes just from the colors, right? Just from the colors of the truck, I can tell from,
Right,
however many feet away. I'm like, I know that truck. And then,
right,
I talked about like I get giddy. Sometimes I see, because WorkWave, we do not just pest control, but we have other, so sometimes I see an electrical or a plumbing company, and then I'll come into the office and I'll just punch them in. I'm like, are they a customer? Just to check, just to see. So,
right.
but yeah, that's really good. So, you talked a little bit before about 40% of your new business is coming via referral, right? So let's talk a little bit about referrals. So, pest control, community centric. We've talked about this in other interviews before. How much more likely do you feel those referrals are converted into a customer, or that they become, more of a long-term customer? How do you feel that impacts, the end result that you would get from those customers?
Well, listen, I think a personal referral from a friend or a family member, or someone that might be an acquaintance, let's say on Facebook, that you knew, someone who's your friend on Facebook is someone that you've known at some point in your life.
Yeah.
I think that's more powerful than doing a Google search. Even with all the reviews that you can look at when you do a Google, if you do a Google search and you look at a company and you're looking at all the reviews, you still don't know those people. They're still strangers. Now, certainly there's some power there, and I think a lot of those leads convert at a high rate. But I don't think there's anything more powerful than a friend or a family member, someone you know, telling you that they had a great experience with this company, because it's all about trust, right? It's all about breaking that door down about trust. I mean, even if you read 100 reviews, you still don't know this company
Right.
that you found on Google. But if you're a good friend, or even if it's just an acquaintance or someone you work with says, "Oh yeah, I use them, they're fantastic," um, I think that lead's going to convert probably a little bit better than the one from Google, because of the trust factor.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think reviews in a way is kind of a replacement if you have an absence of a referral, right?
Right.
If you don't know somebody who can give you a good recommendation, what can you do? That's kind of where the referrals or where the reviews come into play. But I think overall, if somebody within your family or somebody that says, "Hey, these guys were great," that's gonna, you don't even need to look at the review at that point, right?
Right. And there's another part to this too. I think you're going to run into less price resistance from a referral, because I think if you ask your friend for a referral, you're really interested in quality.
Right.
You don't go to your friend and say, "Who's the cheapest company around for me to hire?" That's when I'm asking for someone to do home services for me, I'm not saying who's the cheapest to my friend. I'm saying who's good,
Yeah,
who's
that's a
who's going to do a good job for me. Now, I want a good value, of course, but I'm not going to ask him for who's the cheapest around. So I think there's going to be, because of the trust factors built in from the referral, there's going to be less price resistance too. And you're not going to end up, with those customers that are just always beating you up on price. The people who are interested in quality.
that.
Those are the customers we want. Those are the customers we market to. We want people interested in quality.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. So we talked a little bit about reviews, and Amanda and the team pulled up your reviews. Cowleys gets a 4.8 review on Google. I think in life I couldn't achieve a 4.8, and I have full control of that. How do you guys make sure you have that 4.8 rating? That's amazing.
Well, you have to work every day to train. You got to hire great people,
Yeah.
number one, and train the heck out of them. You have to hire people. I mean, our hiring process, we're looking for people that want to help people. I mean, we're in the home services business, right? So it all starts with hiring the right people that want to help people, that take pride in helping people, not only in our call center, but in the field, our technicians. So that's where it all starts, really, is really in the hiring process. You're not going to get to a 4.8 when you have people that don't really like to help other people.
Right. Yeah. So
So
so with that 4.8, how does that factor into your leads, right? And people coming to your business.
Well, it factors in quite a bit. There was a time when we didn't have a 4.8 average score,
Uh-huh.
and that's because we weren't soliciting our customer base for leads. There was a time not too long ago when we had 72 total leads and a 4.2 average score. And that's because we weren't soliciting our customers that have been with us for years. Because, they tend to not, fill out surveys if they're happy. They're just happy. The people that tend to, if you're not soliciting reviews from your regular customers, the reviews you do get are mostly complaints, and everybody gets them.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is to balance out the people that are going to complain, you have to solicit your customer base. And you do that through your call center people and your frontline people. They ask people that are happy with the service, that have been with you for years, to do a review for us. Please do a review for us. So we've gone from 72 reviews and a 4.2 rating to almost 500 reviews now
Nice.
and a 4.8 rating, because we just started asking our customers for reviews. And most of our customers are very, very happy with the service. They've been with us for many years, so it was really easy to solicit them for reviews. They were more than happy to do it for us. And so now we have 4.8, and we're approaching 500 reviews. Now when people go to our site, they see that. And that's third party, right? That's third party endorsements. And they have hundreds of reviews to look at. And the other thing is we respond to every review, every single one. We have a marketing person here that actually responds, good or bad, if the reviews, not just the bad reviews. We respond to the good reviews and thank people for doing a review. And that's important too, for people to see that we don't take those reviews for granted, that we're communicating with our customers and thanking them for the good reviews. They also see that you're acting on anything that's bad. You're trying to fix anything that you may have screwed up. You're trying to work with the customer to work things out. So it's had a huge impact on our lead flow since we went from 4.2 to 4.8, and from 72 to total leads, or reviews rather, to 500. We generated 50% more leads in 2020 than we did in 2019.
Wow.
50%
50%.
more. And that was the main factor, because nothing else really changed dramatically in our marketing, except that we went from 72 to almost 500 leads and a 4.2 to a 4.8 rating. So, my marketing guy is convinced that the reason why we had such a huge growth in our lead flow last year was because of the reviews, all the work we did with improving on our reviews.
Yeah.
So it has a huge, Mike, the answer to your question, Rick, is it has a huge impact. We've seen it, we've lived it, we've learned from the past year what an impact it can have.
Yeah, these are all great tips. And actually, I would say that I was a little bit guilty of what you talked about, in that I would only go and put a review if just to kind of warn people that, okay, I had a bad experience. But I wasn't actively going and putting reviews when I had good experiences. And it wasn't until that I got a little bit more into, probably WorkWave, and we have an online review product, and getting a little bit more appreciation also working with customers like yourself, and just knowing and understanding, okay, well, this is, so impactful to give them, like, when they do good work, to have that rating, because it helps you guys,
Yeah.
and if I enjoyed the service, I should let other people know that you're going to get good service here, because it's going to help out you, it's going to help out then me. It just makes sense to do. So I think in the past I was more guilty of not giving those good reviews. Now I'm a little bit more open to it, and I'll go do something like that. So it's a very good point that you brought up. I'm glad you brought that up. So now let's talk a little bit about converting those leads, right? So we talked about first interactions. So your first interaction with a customer really sets the tone. It kind of gives you an idea of, tells the customer who you are. So is that true for you? You feel like that first interaction? And how do you guys go about, making sure, or what type of tone that you try to approach to your customers as early on in the process as they're a lead? They haven't even decided yet to go with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's critically important to make a good first impression. And even before they call in here, or however it is they contact us, we want to make a really good first impression with our marketing pieces, right? Whether it's print or digital, we want to make sure that whatever they're looking at, because that's their first contact with
Or
us.
the amazing wrap you have on your truck.
Right? Exactly. So now they haven't even spoken to anyone here. So we are meticulous about anything in the marketing department that goes out to the public. We want to make sure it is grade A, spectacular, looks fantastic, and says all the right things. So once you have that, and they're going to be calling in here and talking to someone, that first person that they talk to can either blow up what you did in the marketing department, or it can continue as a good experience. So critically important to have a call center with people that are picking up the phone, that are enthusiastic, that are friendly, that are knowledgeable, that can show empathy. So you have to look for people like that, people that want to help people. Again, getting back to that, the hiring process, you better stack your call center with people that really have that in their DNA. They really like to help people and solve problems, because that's what we do. I mean, we solve problems. We solve pest problems all day long, every day. That's really the business that we're in. We're problem solvers.
I'm really glad that you brought it back to the marketing piece. And I always talk about, I ordering a pizza, and I go to a website, and if they have the online ordering piece to it, I'm ordering. If they don't have it, I'm less likely to order. If they do have it, I'm more likely to order. And if the website looks like it's old and they don't put much effort into it, then I kind of get that impression that maybe they run their business like that. So I think that, those marketing pieces that you talked about, whether it's the wrap or it's whatever your website, just the appearance of it, I think just sets that tone, and they kind of get this idea that you are a professional company. I think it's really important. I'm glad you brought it back to that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. If people go to your website and your website is dated and your website doesn't have the functions they're looking for, they can't navigate the website the way they'd like to. It does say something about your company. It absolutely does. I mean, it says that you're behind the times. You're not on the cutting edge. You're not out front. You're not a leader, and it reflects poorly on you, especially with millennials. Okay, especially with millennials. So, and millennials, as we all know, are entering the workforce in great numbers, and they're accumulating wealth, and that they're getting promoted, and they're going to become more and more important. And they're so savvy when it comes to anything digital that, boy, if you have a site that's dated and drab and old that doesn't function well, I mean, I think they're just going to jump right off the site and look for somebody else.
I'm on the cusp of that millennial year, I think. So, and um, I had a customer call me a snowflake once. That was fun.
Wow. Ouch. Yeah, ouch.
There's one statistic I actually wanted to throw out there because I mentioned earlier that we do an industry survey, and I think this kind of dovetails nice into what we're talking about right now. The statistic was what are your concerns about marketing? And 47% of the respondents said dedicating time to marketing, right? So if you go back and you think about all the stuff that we talked about in the first impression and how that like pays dividends down the road, what would you say to people who their main thing is finding time for marketing? What would you say to them?
Well, what I would say, that's surprising to hear that. Um, the winners in the marketplace are the best marketers.
Mm-hmm.
The people that grow their business, they're the best marketers. Whatever the trade you're in, the easy part is to actually do the work. I mean, we can train anybody, not anybody, I shouldn't say that, but we can train a good person to go out and do the work that we do. It's not that complicated. The people skills are more important, but we can teach someone how to go out and deal with an ant situation or a mouse situation. We can do all those things. That's not that much of a challenge. But the marketing side, I know guys that are that do better work. I know guys that do better work, let's say, than other guys, but no one knows who they are. No one knows who they are. So, I'll tell you what, the best work we ever did was when Drew and I were doing all the work ourselves. Right?
Uh-huh.
But to grow our business, we had to, hire and train other people to do the work, and we still do really good work. But we couldn't grow our business without the marketing component. So the guys who win in the marketplace ultimately and grow their businesses are the guys who are the best marketers. So you better find time for marketing. You better not only find time, but you better learn it, study it, and get competent at it. Not that you have to do it all yourself. I don't recommend that. But you better, once you start hiring people, an agency, for instance, you better be involved in the marketing and understand it, because I think it's critical to the growth and profitability of your business. If you're not marketing savvy, if you're not really good at marketing, you're gonna impede your growth. So you better find time.
That's a nice snippet. And I hope that the audience listened and heard that. You better find time. 47% of you guys better find some time.
You better find time is my recommendation. I mean, that's something you just can't ignore. That's a top priority, is to find time, and not only find time, understand it and get good at it. And if you get good at it, you're going to beat a lot of your competitors.
So I want to thank Bill for joining. Unfortunately, we had some difficulties with the internet in the building, so we didn't get to actually finish. But we had a really good conversation. I think we left on a high note, right? With saying, find time to market your business. I think that was really a good high note to actually end on. You know, we kind of George Costanza. We hit with the high note, and now we're getting out of here. But a couple of things to leave you guys with before we go. So WorkWave did release the new version of our lead management system. It's called Sales Center. It was released recently. We're going to show a video. I will also mention that we also released a marketing marketplace within PestPack. The first thing that's in there is Target Specialty Products, where you can buy some stuff from the store. The plan is for us to expand and to provide other opportunities, things that maybe you don't know about, things within the product, you know, whether it's the sales center or, you know, some of our partners, you know, some things that maybe would help you guys grow your business that maybe you don't realize are hooked into PestPack or available for you. So that's coming soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you again next time.